Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here. Friday the 5th of March 2021. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on. And when I get done with the markets, I'm going to tell you guys a little story. $25 gold silver price, down 32 cents. You know what? The Fed, they're liking this right now with the bond yields going up. As long as it doesn't go too far. Because it keeps the price of gold and silver, and it keeps the price of cryptocurrency suppressed. And this means that they can keep their game going longer. The game is to keep confidence in the fiat currencies, because they're actually backed by nothing. So as long as the Fed can keep that confidence going, they can keep this system running. Gold and silver get out of control, confidence will start to be lost in the fiat currency. So with the bond yields moving up, people look at the bonds as a better investment. They become far more well, they got a higher yield, you know. But the bond yields are going to want to go to 6%, and they can't allow that. But they can probably, I think they could probably get away with 2% on the U.S. 10-year. As long as it doesn't go too much over 2%, And of course, it'll be more attractive to investors and at 2% yield. And it's going to keep suppressing the price of gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies, these assets. But it ain't going to stop at 2%. It'll take a little while to get to 2%, but it's going to try to go to 2.5. It's going to try to go to 3. What then? Okay, $24.98 for silver. It's dropped down below $25 right now. What a good buying opportunity this is presenting. Gold today, $16.96, down 60 cents on the day. Cryptocurrencies, we're looking at $1,444 billion for the industry. Bitcoin 47,566. It's the lowest price we've seen in a little while. The Dow Jones today, we're looking at the Dow Jones is up 197 points. As long as these markets remain stable, the only market I see going down today is Russell. But most of the markets are fairly stable today. As long as the oil price stays stable, they can let the gold and silver price and the cryptocurrency price drop. They like that. So the Fed's going to stay pat on this because they don't really want to do yield curve control. I think they're going to be forced into it later when the bond yields start to get really too high. And that's, when they do yield curve control, you're going to see the price of gold and silver and crypto shoot up. Okay, next we're looking at crude oil today, $65.70, and it's up $1.87. Now that's going to translate to the pumps. You'll be paying more for gas. U.S. 10-year today. Now we see this 10-year creeping up. It's at 1.57 right now. It's creeped up 2 basis points today. And overall, let me see here if I can pull this chart over. That's the 1 year. Let's take a look at 6 month. Pull it over so you guys can see it better. You can see it's not stopping. It's shooting for the moon. And the thing about it is what we're going to see is this is going to not stop. This wants to find 6 or 7%. That's what it wants. Fed's not going to be able to allow that. So you guys, you got a buying opportunity right now. It's presenting itself in the alternatives to the dollar because of these bonds. This yield's going to keep creeping up, and we're going to see the price continue to be suppressed on these alternative asset classes to the dollar until this yield gets to a point where it starts to really affect these markets adversely, like the like your equities and your. It's going to start to affect your. All of the markets are going to start to uh, roll over, and then the Fed is going to see this getting too high. They probably have a marker. Marker might be 2%, might be 1.75, it might be 2.5%. I just don't know where the marker is for the Fed, where the line in the sand, basically, where if it crosses that, the Fed's going to react. But you can bet they got a marker in. They're not going to mention that. They're not going to tell anybody that they got a marker, a spot, a line that they won't let it cross. But believe me, they do. I'm thinking probably 2%, but it might be higher. Their marker might be higher. Their marker might be 3%. They won't let it cross that marker, though. Then they'll react with yield curve control. Because you can't let these rates get normalized. United States, first off, can't pay. They wouldn't be able to, if the rates go too high, they just, well, the system can't function with it any longer. You can't do like Paul Volcker did when he let rates go up to 20%. You can't do that anymore with the system. The system can't stand it. The move index today is 68.13, and it's up 2%. No, 3.5% it's up. It's up 2.3 percentage points. 68.13, and the dollar index today is at 92, and it's moving up too. It's strengthened the dollar, you know, weakness in gold and silver, weakness in crypto, strengthen the dollar. Last hurrah for the dollar. That's what it is. It's the last hurrah. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a story of how all this could happen, how suddenly confidence could be lost in investors around the world in these fiat currencies. Because this is all a confidence game. And now that we have social media and everything, and word can spread around the world overnight, it reminds me of something. It reminds me of fire ants. And it reminds me of bees. You know, I'm going to tell you about bees and fire ants. You know, they put out something called a pheromone. It's a smell. When a bee stings you, he puts a pheromone on you. You can't smell it, but it's on you. If you go anywhere near the nest once you get stung, the other bees will smell that and they'll sting you too. Fire ants are the same way. They put off that smell. So I'll tell you, I was down in Orlando years and years ago when I was like 13 years old. And they had this auto auction there where they used to bid on cars that had been wrecked. So they got this school bus, you know, and they cut the whole side of the school bus. And somebody had built a wooden stage that extended out maybe 10 feet out on one side of the school bus. And they faced all the seats around. And basically what they had made was a stage with bleacher seats. A mobile stage. And they had this microphone, you know, for the auctioneer. And it was a megaphone, you know, one of those megaphones so he could speak into a microphone and everybody could hear him. And they'd drive the school bus around. And on the school bus, they had these coolers. One was filled with beer. The other one was filled with soda pops. Then they had a whole bunch of Dunkin' Donuts sort of thing there. And they had cakes and pies and cookies and everything else for these guys to eat. So I used to go with my dad, you know. I used to love to go. Because I'd like sit on the school bus, you know, and fill myself with cakes and donuts and pop. I knew not to go near the beer keg. Because all those guys were watching. They see me go near the beer keg, I would have been in trouble. I knew not to do that. I knew to keep quiet, too. While those guys were bidding on a car, if man, I'd be in a lot of trouble if I said boo. So this one day, they were going through and they were auctioning off these cars. And, you know, the auctioneer, he goes, $100, $200, $300, I hear 400, I hear 400. You know, and they came up to this Camaro. I think it was a Camaro or it might have been a Stingray or something. It was something that they were really wanting. It was one of the really good ones of the day, you know. It was one of these cars, a muscle car, you know, it had been hit. I think somebody rolled it or something, you know, and it had a few dings and dents and scratches all over it, you know. And a lot of these guys were body men and stuff, and there's about 3 or 4 guys, and they were really excited. They're going to bid on this thing, and they really wanted it, you know. So I was sitting back there watching, and they were doing the bidding, you know, bidding the price up higher and higher. And this one of these guys, you know, he was a real fancy looking guy. He had a big cowboy hat on, you know, and he was all slicked up, you know, and everything else. Had his hair done up and everything, you know. And I noticed so. He was so interested in the car, he wasn't paying attention. And he had his foot right down in one of these fire ant nests. Nothing was happening. And he was bidding on this car. He's so concentrating on his bidding, you know. And I was sitting there and I was saying, what's going on? I said, those fire ants must be going. And I couldn't say nothing because they were right in the middle of what they were doing. Everybody was, you know. I knew they must be going up his leg, you know. Now, sometimes the fire ants will go up your ankle and get about maybe 6 inches up your ankle, and then one old one will bite. And when he bites, he'll put off that pheromone. And then they'll all bite. But you'll be able to do something. You'll be able to lift up your your pants and brush them all off of your leg real quick, you know, and take your sock off, and you're okay, you know. But the longer your leg is down in that nest, you know, and nothing's happening, they're going further and further up your pants. And for some reason or another, none of them are biting yet. The first one that bites, though, is going to set off all the rest, you know. And so that's what was happening with this guy. He was standing there for ages. They were going up inside his pants. He couldn't feel them. Well, all of a sudden, one of them bit. That was it. Boys, I'm telling you, right in the middle of that auction, he was rolling around on the ground. And yes, his pants come off. And yes, he was in his tighty whities. And yes, other guys had to come over and swat the ants off of his legs and try to help him out. Oh my goodness, he was rolling around on the ground screaming in agony. And they were all in his shorts and everything. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, it was really some sight to see. But how does this apply to the financial system? What worries me is that nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. This confidence in the dollar and confidence in the fiat currency is going to remain. What worries me is that if it's a sudden thing, just like the fire ants biting, and it all happening at once, where everybody around the world loses confidence at the same time in these fiat currencies. This really worries me, because this could really shut the system down if that happens suddenly. And it's a sober thought. I don't give it a real sudden, happening real sudden like that. I don't give it a real high percentage chance of happening, but it could happen. Maybe only a 20% chance of it happening that way. But if it does happen that way, it's going to be bad. Really bad. Just like it was for that guy with the fire ants. Thank you guys for listening. Thumbs up. Hit that notification icon. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And we'll catch you guys in the very next show. Bye-bye.